their arms in the war, for instance. How the idea itself came?
Well, the idea started from the when the Gulf War started, and the soldiers of the United States Army, most of them were worried about coming back home with the amputated arm or leg. They weren't worried about being or being dead in the field, but they worried about just living handicapped people. So the idea came to replace their amputated arm by a similar arm, something just to function as just like the actual arm. And the idea started from this point, and there was some research before I started, and the research stopped at how to sense the impulses. And I took over that research with my masters, and I started to go on with the research to how to install sensors on the nerves and sense the pulses. And then the second half, which was the most difficult part, which is how to localize such a nerve, pulse inside the nerve, and then translate the brain signals. And this translation, upon translating the signal, we're gonna decide which movement of arm, left, right, up and down. It was a hell of a challenge, and it showed us how God is great creating creatures. It's really complicated issue, and we had a hell of a fun to reach this point.
But it needs also that you study anatomy and physiology.
Exactly, I had to study anatomy, physiology, biology. Yes, beside my engineering background. It was a big challenge. But the thing which I want to emphasize on, it was not me. We were a team. We had a teamwork. I was
behind any success.
Exactly. I was lucky with my team. Really.
How long did it take?
About 3 years. 3 years working. We were working day and night, researching, cooperating, doing lots of operations on animals at the beginning because we could not sacrifice the people. And it really was a hell of a teamwork. And this is the word that I want to emphasize, teamwork. This is what I want every single Egyptian to repeat it, teamwork. Everybody in Egypt wants to do things by himself. He will not do everything.
But of course the invention took many versions till it reached the last one, which can be found now in the markets. How many versions it took place before reaching the final one?
Well, I would say we had thousands of trials and experiments. It is not something we can count because it was a hell of a complicated project to work in, and a lot of studies was behind it. Moreover, I'd like just to inform, it is not in the market yet. It's already done and tested and it's working. But being in the market, it's a big investment job behind it. So who's gonna gain the profit? I hope it's me.
It's approved now.
It's proven, it's working. Yeah. And everybody can use it. And the thing is, I'm trying to do similar thing in Egypt. But unfortunately, up until now, I could not meet person who can continue and carry on with me in this project.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start in Egypt. This is one big thing. There is no number to call. There is no university to go to and say, hey, I have this idea and this project which is already I made.
Why haven't you go, for example, to the National Research Center?
Where is it?
The National Research Center. This is an invitation from Egypt now to Dr. Hani Nazir, the president of the National Research Center, to adopt this idea, and I think that I guarantee your full cooperation.
I'd be more than glad to cooperate, and I'm really enthusiastic to start. Really, I need to do. We have so many handicapped people in Egypt. We can really help them.
And about the costs, the very critical question.
Well, this is always a debatable question because cost is just, I cannot control cost. I can design, I can prove my experiment or my idea. But in order for me to identify or to code or estimate the cost, it's something out of my hand. I don't know it. It depends on who's going to manufacture it.
But it can be manufactured in any place, and we can use many materials, and we can choose between a material and the other according to the cost we are going to have.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Then the production or the costs are not going to be that difficult or that obstacle on the way to achieve this aim or to have this successful story.
Well, no.
No.
It will not be an obstacle.
As far as I know that you participated in so many conferences, workshops, and you had many certificates to say that you have done a lot into this specialty. Would you please elaborate?
Since I was a young kid, the idea of being an electronics and electrical engineer was a big idea, overwhelming me. Yes. And I always was looking for a factory or a place to start working. As a young kid, I wasn't an engineer yet or anything yet. And I couldn't reach anywhere. So I started doing in my small room electronic devices and stuff. And my father was, as an engineer, was helping me a lot in doing that. And I still remember my very first, I'll call it invention, a small invention I made in my room with a small electronic buzzer. And then I started building up my ideas. And when I went to the States, I started thinking about how to get to what I need or what I want. So the idea started from how to get there. And this is what I'm trying to explain to everybody. Just identify your target, where you want to be at, and then start moving step by step. I started my very first certificate when I was working for a company in electronics in America. And through this company, I started taking courses and studies through their factory. This helped me a lot. And this is what I'm trying to tell every single person in Egypt. Study, take courses. Do not sit and say, when I graduate, I will. No.
Or to stop after graduation. The postgraduate studies are very important, and the undergraduate studies are only the base. There are people who think that when they are graduated and have the university certificate, then it's the end, it's the beginning. Exactly. Hardly the beginning.
Absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Moreover, being a student is not a job.
Yeah.
You can work while you study. Don't think just because you go to school that's more than enough.
And Engineer Sameh, you know, all what you're saying is great, but on the ground I think that this is very difficult to prove yourself in America, except if you were a very hard worker, studying a lot, doing your best to exceed the Americans themselves, to prove that you are not here as an intruder. You are here to prove that you are better by yourself, by your brain, by your mentality, not by your nationality.
Well, it's a mixture. It is not as easy as just to say it in one secretive shot, I would say, you take, and this you're gonna make you a great. In America, it's just, you don't, I just want to emphasize on working hard. No, just work. This is what I'm trying to tell everybody, just work. I don't want to say hard. But it's always, there is a reference. What we're gonna say, hard.
Only working there is working very hard here.
Maybe. Yeah. According to what I see between the two different countries, yes. Moreover, when I went to China, I was in China like in 2 or 3 months ago. The hard work, I can say the Chinese hard worker. They really work. These people are, my God. when the government tried to give them 2 days off in a week, they just walked everywhere and said no, only 1 day is enough. The worker himself or herself said no. Here or any other or most countries, people say, okay, only 2 days a week. Yeah. We need 3, 4.
This is the attitude of our people, so this should be changed if we want to have progress.
I don't want to say people, I would say the young generations. Please get up early. Please work hard. According to the American or Chinese standard, I would say just work. Just forget about the idea of sitting in the coffee shops day and night. Forget about the idea of chatting on the net. This is not going to take you anywhere. Do research. Look for a factory or a company. Come to me and ask me if I need help. I need this idea. I need somebody to help me. Yes, I'm going to help you. I'm going to provide you what you want. There is always a way to get your ideas out of your brain, but just trying to find it.